Good morning, everyone. Nice to see people. It's really nice to see people. And who would have thought that we would be in that stage in our lives that actually going out and seeing people would be a big deal? But it is. So welcome to the 12th annual Power of Words breakfast. And I just wanted to point out there is a draw right over the side there. You can buy tickets. They'll have an online draw, and they've got books. And please help out, and it'll help the cause. So we would like to begin, and I'd like to invite Hélène Cayer up to say a few words.
Very much to be here. Thank you, Dee. J'aimerais vous accueillir sur le territoire de la nation algonquine Anishinaabe non cédé, très important non cédé. Le territoire nous ancêtre depuis des milliers d'années. Nos communautés sont en deuil présentement. Nous offrons nos prières, le tabac et nos cœurs. I would like to welcome you to the unsurrendered, unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation, the land of my ancestors from time immemorial. Our communities are in mourning presently. We offer our prayers, our tobacco, and our hearts, which
Thank you very much. We would like to welcome people at home as well, watching on Zoom. And you just missed a really good breakfast. We've been well fed, and thank you, Moatala, and the good people at Newport Restaurant. Another wonderful breakfast. Thank you. We're celebrating World Literacy Day today, and I mean, I think the pandemic has really showed me the importance of books. We have spent a lot of time alone, but when you have a book, you're not alone. And we haven't been able to travel, but when you have a book, you can go places. And I think we, many of us have come to appreciate more the importance and the power of reading. We have a couple of city councilors here. Ralston King, welcome. Matthew Flitty. There you are. Nice to see you. We always start off with a song, and we've had over the years some terrific singers, and we'll have another one. Please welcome Christine Graves.
I get to take my mask off. It's really an honor to be invited to this International Literacy Day celebration. And thank you, Dee. You guys have done a beautiful job bringing people together when we really need it. And it's extra work, but very appreciated. I have a song that I started writing quite a few years ago and got to finish during the pandemic. And it was written on a sunny September morning walking by the Rideau River. And it turned into a song about strength and fighting a good fight, and when we need to work as a group to be more powerful. So it's called the Sparrow Parable. It's not easy to say. Oh, little sparrow, fly as an arrow, lift from the grasses by my feet.
Fly straight and narrow like the stave of the Pharaoh. You are a true sign so discreet. Tiny seeds blow. Simple straw builds a home, little sparrow. Is it true all we need lay before us? Let us get this work done. Oh, dandelion, yellow light in Zion, shine like diamonds on the sea. Moments in May so soon fade away. Not much time, you work with great speed. Tiny seeds will blow. Simple straw to build the home, little sparrow. Is it true all we need lay before us? We will get this work done. You were the witness by crucifixes, raising spirits of mere mortal fame. Small, wild, mighty, mild, symbols of the strength we share. Power in numbers, waking from our slumbers, defeat the cougar, fox, and bear. Tiny seeds blow. Simple straw to build a home, little sparrow. It is true, all we need is before us. We can get this work done. Thank you.
Nice to hear live music. That was really nice, thank you. A few people to thank, and a much smaller crowd here, and it's not because people don't want to show up, but we're trying to do everything in a safe manner, and I'm really glad we're doing this face to face, because everything you do right now is risk, and you try to keep things safe, and it's well spaced out, and I think people feel pretty comfortable here. So thanks for doing it, and letting us gather on this day. We have coming up, we're going to be hearing from Ottawa Police Superintendent Isabel Ranger, who's here. Thanks for coming out. Many of the partners are watching on Zoom, including the learners and volunteer tutors, Employment Ontario partners, ministry representatives, and people with employment and social services, and so many friends and supporters. So again, welcome on Zoom. And we would like to thank the breakfast sponsors who made this possible: Pearlie Robertson, Hélène McDougall, QP, Rideau Ottawa Valley Learning Network, McKay Duff, Perfect Books, and Bonini and Associates, and of course the Newport Restaurant. And thank you to the authors and publishers who've donated books, and the authors of Canadian and Canada's Parliament are with us this morning, so thank you. And we are here to celebrate World Literacy Day, and we're going to be hearing some terrific inspirational stories from people, from the learners. And if you haven't seen them before, it's just amazing to hear their stories. They're so heartfelt, so warm, so perfect in explaining how important literacy is. We'll begin our first speaker of the day. We'd like to bring up Margaret Mcdonald, the PWC board president.
Thank you, Terry. Hi, everyone. He's right. It's so great to see people in person, and welcome to those people watching on Zoom. Yeah, you did miss it, right? I'm sorry. And as Terry mentioned as well, we do have people joining us on Zoom from the Ministry of Labour, Training and Skills Development, Employment Ontario service sites, many of our repeat supporters, and all of you who provide referrals from community, social, and healthcare agencies from across the city. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you not as familiar with People, Words and Change as others, People, Words and Change is a not-for-profit literacy organization here in Ottawa. We've been helping adults in the Ottawa area with free volunteer one-on-one tutoring in reading, writing, and computer skills in order for adults to meet their own goals, whether that be employment, training, or personal independence goals. And we've been doing that for over 40 years. I've been with People, Words and Change, I can never remember the amount of years, but it is one of the most rewarding places that I can spend my time. I retired from my full-time job a few years ago. I live about an hour out of the city, and I refuse to give up People, Words and Change. It's far too important, and it's, thank you, Dee, and its mission is far too important to me as well. Without a doubt, 2020 will not be forgotten for many, many reasons. And I can honestly say, last year when COVID hit, PWC made the right decision and they closed the doors at the right time. I've never been more proud and honored to work with the staff at People, Words and Change during this difficult time, where they were able to map out a plan, a safe plan, and still find ways to get things done despite COVID. Staff members worked from home. They limited office appointments and staffing. They held remote meetings. They remained in contact with all of the tutors during the pandemic, and they performed intakes and milestones over the phone. They started online tutoring methods for both the learners and our tutors, just so they could continue their studies when they couldn't meet face-to-face. And we've heard from our learners just how important that was during the pandemic, to be able to have that connection and that ongoing ability to study with everything else around them not being normal. We held events entirely online, including last year's Power of Words breakfast. So that was a real challenge, and that's why I'm happy to be here today, although it was still a bit of a challenge. But this would be a great time, I think, to say some thank yous to the staff members at People, Words and Change. Dee, Julie, and Maura, who is she here today. I cannot thank you enough for the work that you do. It's an absolute pleasure to work with you every single day, and I'm very honored to be part of this organization. To the volunteer tutors, without you, we could not do what we do here. You are the backbone of the organization. And without your generous donation of your time, we would not be able to help as many people as we do. And thank you to all the board members, many of whom are here today, for all of your support and guidance during the past year and a half, which was a really difficult path to maneuver. And I think we did extraordinarily well. Congratulations to People, Words, and Change. So throughout the pandemic, we still had 97 learners in our program last year. The average age was 47, and 72% of our learners were women. The majority of our learners joined us, 78%, because they were looking for work, wanted to improve their skills in order to perform better at the job they had. 3% were on the apprenticeship goal path. 13% were interested in post-secondary education. 2% had the goal of getting their high school diploma or equivalency. 4% had a goal of personal independence. 91% of our learners reported that they had been out of formal education for more than 6 years. When our learners leave our program, they complete a satisfaction survey. And I'm always pleased to hear that 100% of our learners respond that they're happy with the program and they would definitely recommend People, Words, and Change to others. So on that note, there's a number of ways that we can support People, Words, and Change. Terry mentioned one of them. We have an amazing book draw this year. It is available online as well on the website for People, Words, and Change. There are 50 books and prizes, and you can buy your tickets here, and the tickets went on sale online this morning at 7 o'clock. So please check out the books. There's a whole bunch of them. I want a whole bunch. I know I'm buying tickets, so, but yeah, we've got some wonderful, wonderful donations. And new this year, we have a partnership with Perfect Books. They're located at 258 Elgin Street. And what they are doing for us is they are donating 10% of their sales today on International Literacy Day to People, Words, and Change. So this is a wonderful opportunity. You can visit them in person. You can visit them online at perfectbooks.ca. You can order your books online. You can pick them up. I understand they even will deliver the books if you order them. So another good way to support People, Words, and Change, as well as supporting a local business. Other ways, you may have noticed on your table, there are donation cards. Or sorry, at the back, there's donation cards. You can donate by mail or online on our website, or you can designate us as the recipient of your United Way donation, and any amount at all is appreciated. And your financial support helps us to reach our learners through ads, through our website, through outreach opportunities, to help raise awareness of People, Words, and Change, the great services we do, and to raise awareness of the literacy challenges of adults here in Ottawa. And finally, I wanted to say congratulations to the People, Words, and Change learners. My father had a lifelong reading challenge, and I can say personally that I understand the impact that this has, and it had, on his life and on our family's lives. And often the hardest part for our learners is finding the courage to reach out and get that help that they need. My father never did, but as you'll see from our learners' stories today, it can be done. And each and every one of them has their own story. which brought them here to People, Words, and Change. And those are what you're about to hear. So to the learners, congratulations. Thank you.
And the stories we're about to hear, normally the people would be standing in front of us. We're going to be seeing it online today. But man, they're inspirational. If you think of how difficult it is to say, I need help, and to make the call and then come to a great organization like this and get the help. But it takes so much courage to make the call. So with that said, we're going to pre-recorded remarks from Melanie, and I hope I don't mess up names here, Glaucia, Hussam, Ruth, who is one of the PWC tutors, Sajida, and Farah.
Hello, my name is Melanie. I was born in Ottawa 39 years ago. I have a twin sister and a young brother. I went to high school at St. Francis Xavier. During all my schooling, I had trouble with reading and writing. I have trouble keeping up with school work and needed to go to special ed. But I do love school. Just was challenging. After high school, I worked for a short time until my children started arriving, and I became a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 wonderful children, 2 girls ages 13 and 11, and 1 boy, 9, soon to be 10. I had an idea of going to college, but that hadn't worked out yet. I have a learning disability. I have always had trouble reading and writing since I was a kid. It was hard for me in school, but I didn't give up. I started reading stories for fun and stories about people or wolves and other animals. Reading made me think that I have a lot of stories of my own I would like to tell. And to do that, I would need to be able to write them down. This got me serious about looking for help with my reading and writing. I asked my ODSP worker about it, and she gave me a pamphlet about PWC and what they can do to help someone like me. I gave them a call and spoke with Julie, who is now my educating counselor. Julie worked with me to develop a learning plan to help reach my goals. Now I have a tutor, Andre. Together we have been working on my spelling and punctuation skills for a few months. Because of the pandemic, we have been holding our sessions over Zoom. It's been hard sometimes to communicate with the kids always around. But with school starting this month, I really look forward to doing more work and learning more with the wonderful people at PWC. Thank you.
My name is Glaucia Carboy. I am originally from Brazil. My journey with People, Words, and Change began 18 months ago while I was looking for a private tutor. After my kids grew up, I decided to go back to school and pursue further education. In order to be admitted to a post-secondary school, I had to write the IELTS test. So I enrolled at a test preparation program at Ottawa Community District School Board. The class had 30 students. As a result, the teacher did not have enough time to correct everyone's writings. So I was looking for some extra help while I found People, Words, and Change. And I realized the organization name expressed exactly what they do: change people's life through the power of language and education. I immediately applied for the literacy program. Few days later, I received a call from Julia. She explained me better about the program. I was very lucky to have Julia as my private tutor for the first few months. She is an excellent teacher. After being working with Julia for some time, I was matched with a tutor named David, another gifted teacher. We have been working together since last October, and I cannot begin to describe the improvement that has been taking place. Due to the pandemic, I have never attended any class in person. I started to study with Julie over the phone, and when I was matched with David, we started to use the Zoom platform. I can say from my own experience that one can learn so much online. I have never studied in my whole life the way I did over the pandemic. The material used in the class provides an excellent foundation for grammar, literacy, and reading. I enjoy every moment of my class, and I always look forward for the next one. In particular, I love the class about reading and writing. If I am honest, at the beginning, I did not want to do any grammar exercise. I found it boring to study sentence fragment, run-on sentence, comma splice, and subject-verb agreement. My favorite classes are reading and writing. The topics are incredibly interesting. The reading talk about people that overcome their challenge. This motivates me to pursue my goals and never give up. As a result of everything I have learned with people, words, and change, I was admitted to Algonquin College last May, and I was able to follow the program very easily and achieved good grades. In my first communication class at Algonquin College, I was surprised. The subject was exactly the same what I studied at People, Words, and Change. Sentence fragment, run-on sentence, comma slice, and subject-verb agreement. I couldn't believe. At the end of the class, the teacher played a carol game, and I was the first place the entire game, with 100% of the question answered correctly. I was so proud of myself that among all the native English speakers, I was able to score 100% at the game. In conclusion, I have no words to describe the positive impact that People, Words, and Change continues to have on my life. In addition to grammar and literacy program, I have learned valuable lessons during my time here that I will carry with me for my entire life. I would like to express my gratitude to all employees and volunteers that have been working tirelessly for over 40 years to help people like me to improve their life through the power of the language and education. Thank you very much. I would never ever achieve any of my goals with not People, Words, and Change. I am grateful forever. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, good morning. I wish you the best this morning. My name is Hussam Shaban. I'm married to a wonderful woman. Her name is Rola. I have 4 kids, 4 great boys. I was very fortunate that someone linked me to the PWC. I needed to enhance my technology knowledge and the skills to use the computer. That includes me and my wife. And we started with the great team at PWC. All of them are great, and we are grateful for them, for what they did for us. I would say thanks for the instructor, Mora. Hi Mora, you've been great. And the rest of the team also, they've been great to us. They've been there. They worked real hard to answer any questions, to solve any problems we are facing, and we cannot compare our technology knowledge, me and my wife, when we started, and the knowledge we gained now. It was awesome to attend such classes and to deal with like a great organization. I would I don't know, I don't have actually the enough words to describe how grateful me and my wife are. I do encourage everyone to try and attend these classes, because it is a real help, and it will enhance your chances getting a better job and a better life. So thank you. I wish you the best with your gathering, the annual gathering, and have a nice breakfast. Enjoy it, and thank you. Take care. Bye.
Good morning, Terry, Dee, and Julie, and all who are gathered in person and virtually for the 2021 Power of Words Breakfast. Happy International Literacy Day. I have been a literacy tutor for People, Words, and Change since 2007, tutoring a number of learners one-on-one to boost their reading, writing, and grammar skills. Before and during the COVID-19 pandemic, my current learner has had the motivation to keep meeting on a weekly basis. We started out at the Ruthie Dickinson Library in person in March 2019, and she was able to continue using speakerphone and emails initially, learning to write and send Google Docs, and finally to become Zoom savvy. It's very gratifying for me to see a learner evolve and feel confident enough to write. Sentences become paragraphs, emails, business and personal letters, and compositions. My learner Sajida has not only worked hard to learn about grammar and punctuation, but she has shown the motivation and confidence to express her own thoughts and opinions. One of my happy memories of tutoring Sajida was when, early on, she wrote her first full composition about her favorite fruit, mangoes. I enjoyed her style of combining factual information she had researched on her own, illustrations from the web, personal memories about growing up in Pakistan and how mangoes were part of her family life, and also her sense of humor. From reading her composition, I could almost picture her parents and siblings as they sat in a circle around a big bucket of mangoes soaking in water, how they massaged each one, and how she learned how to make a hole on top and suck out the soft fruit. She was allowed to eat as many as she wanted, but had to be careful not to eat too many or it would cause pimples. Sajida has been diligent about understanding what she is reading, and she's good about remembering details and making inferences. She has learned how to structure her writing better. Writing emails and letters to request information, sending a complaint letter, and expressing her personal thoughts are all skills she has learned. Sajida's calling is working in early childhood education. As she will explain, she's taken the time over the past 2.5 years to become more computer literate and to work on her English. PwC's one-on-one tutoring and computer literacy classes with Julie are allowing Sajida to re-enter the workplace now with stronger skills and more confidence. I'm very happy to introduce Sajida to speak about her literacy journey. Sajida, I respect your motivation and ability to learn and send you my best wishes for the future. May the power of words be with you always.
Hello everyone and good morning. My name is Sajida Siddiqui and I am honored to have an opportunity to speak to all of you. It is a great pleasure to tell you how people, words and change helped me accomplish my goals. PwC helped me so much and has given me a chance to learn more by taking English classes and computer literacy classes. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have been in Canada for a long time. Canada is my country and my home now. I went to High School of Commerce in my early years in Canada. I took many courses and graduated. Then I went to Algonquin College to get a diploma in early childhood education. I did field placement and I was offered a job in a daycare center as a supply teacher. And then I was working there for a while, but unfortunately I couldn't complete my ECE because of my mom's illness with heart trouble. And my mom, who had come to Canada a few years before and helped raise my daughter, and she was like a friend for all those years. When her condition was getting worse every day, I decided to stay home to take care of her. I had lots of support from my husband. After my mom passed away, I started taking small courses and even tried to complete my ECE. But whole world seemed to have changed in all those years. And all the courses are so expensive. It's computerized everywhere. That means applying for a job means go online. I was very lucky to find out about PwC. One day when I went to the bank at Maryville Mall, my financial advisor gave me information to get connected to PwC. That's how I found out about PwC. After that, I started computer classes. And it was going really well. PwC had helped me great deal. And all of a sudden, COVID-19 started and schools and other places got closed. At that difficult time, PwC has made it possible for me to have classes online at home. And that difficult time with coronavirus, my teacher Ruth, a wonderful person, she gave me classes. She gave me classes on the phone in the beginning, later on the Zoom. She is very caring. She taught me, she helped me with my reading and writing. And she taught me to send emails and many more issues. It was very interesting to write composition on different topic. And Julie started giving me computer classes, and she has been very supportive, understanding and caring. She trained me to turn on the Zoom, share a screen, and formatting, and work on Google, and many more computer skills. I have tremendous respect for people, words and change, and my two great teachers. who helped me fulfill my dream by getting more knowledge and more information and lots of confidence. I'm very happy to say that I got a job few weeks ago in a daycare center as a supply teacher. I believe motivation and passion to learn and willingness to keep trying and never to give up on anything. Hard work and determination are the key to success. PwC made it possible for me to get connected to the whole world on through computers in seconds. In the end, I would like to thank the whole team of PwC, and I would like to thank D. Sleven especially. I'm thankful to my two teachers, excellent teachers, Ruth and Julie. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and thank you to everyone listening to me today. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Faranaz and my family includes my husband, my 3 children. My son is 9 years old and my older daughter is 6 years old and my youngest daughter is 2 years old. When I first got married and I came to Canada, we lived in Toronto. I started my studies there in 2010. For 2 years, I went to an adult school to achieve some credit for my back home high school certificate. In 2013, I started going to college to study ECE, Early Childhood Education, as a part-time student. This field was my childhood dream, and my husband encouraged me to have a career. This field took me 5 years to study. Meanwhile, my husband was looking for a job in Ottawa for 4 years. Finally, he achieved his goal. He found a job there. In 2017, we moved to Ottawa. I could not go to college for 1 year because of our move to Ottawa. I was looking for a tutor at the same time to get some help with my assignments, and I heard from a friend about PwC, People, Words and Change. I got in touch with them and met the executive director. She gave me a test, and after the assignment, I was able to get help from PwC. I met my tutor in the library until the pandemic. I was able to finish my courses and now have my ECE diploma. I think that I made a great decision in being a part of PwC, which supported me a lot when I was trying to improve my English so that I could do my assignments. I will never forget the hard work and support my tutor and PwC gave me. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to my story. I wish you all a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Morillo Torres, and I'm here in Canada for the past 7 years. And PwC was and is still very important in my life. That's why I'm here today to say thank you for me and your whole team, especially the volunteers. Without you guys, it would not going to be possible for me to be here today. Love you all, and let me know if you need any other help.
Hue, welcome to PWC, People, Word, and Change. This is a wonderful and unique learning experience. I, as a senior past 65, needed to upgrade my computer skill dramatically for the projects that I was doing. PWC gave me the confidence, first of all, to learn and to be part of this family that makes you feel that you belong here. Also, now I'm able to do what I need to do on these devices, which I still have trouble, but at least I'm able to do anything and everything that I want. So helpful during this pandemic, as I was able to do online shopping and get to do things that never in my lifetime would I have done if I would not have come before the pandemic, coming to upgrade my skills. So again, I wish to say thank you to this wonderful organization, and I wish them good luck, and you might see me again for more upgrades, as I think I will need a few more upgrades to learn language.
Hello there, my name is Heather Francis, and I am a current learner with PWC, People, Words, Changes. I came to PWC when I became unemployed and felt that I needed to work on my writing skills, and as I knew I had a learning disability, but it wasn't where I wanted it to be. So People, Words, Changes accommodated me and found me a tutor, and the tutor is so flexible. They work with your schedule and your life events, and it's just been a great improvement. I've learned a lot of tricks that I didn't know before in writing and knowledge, and that's allowed me to write speeches and speak at events, and also to have the confidence to write more at work and feel good about my writing. Thank you, everyone at PWC.
Thank you all for your testimonials, and the videos that we saw will be online, and please encourage others to watch and support PWC. Please as well take the time, maybe as you're leaving, to go and buy raffle tickets and help the cause. I'm going to bring this over here. And would like to now introduce the keynote speaker for the day, and it's she is a superintendent with Ottawa Police, promoted to superintendent in July of 2020, Isabel Ranger, currently leading the new police Respect, Values, and Inclusion Directorate. She's a career police officer, more than 28 years of police experience, also a motivational figure in our community. She works to break down barriers for police, for racial equity, and for women. She's also an author. We're delighted to have her this morning. Please welcome Isabel Granger.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. First of all, one of the central to this me being here, my favorite things in the whole world, books. Love books. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I do love books. And also, of course, Sajida, the lady that talks about mangoes. I've never met a mango I didn't like. I grew up in Zimbabwe, and mangoes. We had mango trees in our backyard, and I had many a mango. And I had my mother didn't talk about pimples; she talked about mangoes being too many mangoes being a diuretic. So you had to be really careful. I'm really, really happy to be here. And when Margaret contacted me, I had already said yes before she completed asking me to invite me. because I really believe in what you do. And I'm going to share with you, I'm going to begin by sharing with you the background of who I am and what brought me here. I've actually put my timer on because I love to talk and I like people. So just to make sure that you can go home today at a reasonable time. So I'm going to, the title of my presentation is The Power of Words, not surprisingly. And I want to share with you a little bit about my background and how sometimes we go about in our world and there's so much that we take for granted because it's just there for us and we don't realize that other people, might not have the same access we have and results in people actually, some people never really realizing their true potential. I'll never forget one of the missions I was deployed to was a peacekeeping mission in Kenya, and we were in an area where this movie was filmed. I can't remember what the name of the movie, but if I told you, you probably remember it. But in that area was this beautiful grand homes, and that's where all the diplomatic people lived and all that. And we used to take a run every evening or a walk. And next to one of these big houses was a little tin shack where there was a man and a woman and kids. And I happened to one day when we were walking by see this car driving in and the family that lived in this grand old house, and they didn't even glance over. And I'm not saying they didn't glance over because they, for whatever reason, but to me, I think sometimes people who don't have access are invisible. And I'm so glad that you actually are making sure that people that don't have a voice, and people find their voices in what you do. I was born in the former Rhodesia. Some of you in my generation will know some of our history. I'm not going to, when I tell you dates and all, please don't do the additions because then you'll know how old I am. But in my country, I was born into a system that was normal to me. It was segregation. In South Africa, neighboring South Africa, we called it apartheid. But in Rhodesia, and actually we learned it from Canada. We studied that apparently our people came and studied the Indian Act, and then they implemented apartheid. But anyway, the country was segregated into three distinct groups. There were white people, black people, and coloreds. Coloreds were those people whose parents might have had children with a black woman, or someone else of the race, so they were biracial. So they created a whole neighborhood. So this is the neighborhood I was born into. And then of course all the other people like the Portuguese and the Indians and the Chinese, they fit wherever they closely resemble their complexions. And most of them were in colored community. One of the downsides about being colored was that in our community, we had our own brand of prejudice. And this was usually by complexion and by family background, and also usually how close one could trace the white side of the ancestry. So as a little girl, I was one of the darkest skinned in my family. And in Rhodesia, the lighter skin you were, the better access to privilege you enjoyed. It's just the way that it was. I didn't know about freedom and people looking for freedom and looking for equality and all that. But there are stark moments in my life where I remember certain things that happened that still stick with me this day. Like at the age of 10 years old, at a 10-year-old leaning on elbows on the kitchen table and listening to a radio news story that's announcing the tragic, violent death of the king. And as I listened intently, I heard the story of Martin Luther King Jr. and how he had dedicated his life of ending segregation in the United States. And I wondered, why was he a king? And then, of course, the parents explained. And it still was a little foreign to me, and I thought how sad it was that this person had to fight for what I thought I had because I was happy in my family. I had not thought much about freedom since I enjoyed the safety of my family home. As a middle child of 10, I was securely cocooned in the center of the family, which gave me all the love I needed, all the affection and the validation. But so many voices of wisdom from those early years I still hear to this day. And one of them was my mother's voice impressing upon us the importance of why we need to learn to read and to write well and to communicate. And to really communicate, to be able to read and understand what we're writing. And she said, the only way you can work out of the system is by education. I didn't even understand what she meant, but so when I still remember showing her my homework, and she'd say things like, Isabel, will this allow people to see what you really are? So I said, what do you mean? Well, there's a smudge in that corner, there's a this, and the corners are turned up, and there's things crossed out. No, that's not why. I just made a mistake. Well, then I'd go back and I'd rewrite it. And then, of course, after that, I became a little OCD about my assignment. Thank you, Mom. But my older sister she was an avid reader. And before I became one myself, I was fascinated at how fascinated she was with books. So I remember one day asking her a question that changed my life. It changed my life when she answered me. I asked her why she loved reading so much. And Terry, I think you were looking over my shoulder last night as I was writing this, because what my sister said to me, as she closed the book and didn't chase me away to tell me to run off annoyed, she said to me, she began to tell me about the world outside of my cocoon, that safe place in my neighborhood, my church, my neighborhood, my school, my neighborhood, the little shop, corner store where to buy candy. Outside of that world was another world. But I had not noticed before how restricted people from my community were. Because like I said, everything I needed was in my own little world there. So what my sister told me was that when she was inside the pages of her book, she traveled unhindered far and wide. She mingled and interacted with characters from all races and backgrounds, none of which were hindered by her complexion or that she was different. From that day, that truth became my truth. My dad was a very light in complexion biracial man who could be mistaken for a white person. Some of his siblings had passed for white, which was not uncommon in our community, where some people who were fair complexion would leave their families and live in white neighborhoods in search of a better future. I must admit, there was a time when I envied them, but later on in life, I realized how lonely it must have been to leave one's family. And I really loved mine, as crazy as it was, I really did. And I thought it was so crazy that somebody could leave their family and live close to them and yet be so far away. I wouldn't leave my family, not for anything, not ever. But because of my complexion, I didn't have an option of leaving. What a relief. I began to appreciate my dark skin. I want to share with you two experiences that really were defining moments in my life. I love the musician. I think music is healing, and music, is a lifesaver, and music binds people, it heals. So from when I was a little girl, I was a very talented singer. I sang in the church choir at community events, and sometimes to very large crowds. I was very comfortable on the stage, and because I just loved to sing. So it didn't matter to me what was happening around me, as long as I was singing. And when I sang, it didn't matter that I had a dark complexion or that I was not good enough, because there were very few kids that could sing like me. So even those that didn't approve of me because of how I looked, teachers included, had to concede that they would have to travel far and wide to hear a voice like mine. I also love to read, and I always sometimes joke that I love reading so much that I would read a telephone directory if there's nothing else available. I swear to you. One time I visited my family when I'd been here for 3 years, and when things in Zim started getting quite, the security situation was quite risky. And I remember the Union call said after dark, and I opened up a chest of drawers that my sister had, and I found a whole Harry Boys and Nancy Drew series, and I read them again, all of them, as an adult. And like my sister said, and like Terry said, when I read, at that time I could travel anywhere. No one could tell me. I wasn't allowed to enter anywhere because of the color of my skin. And those days, most public establishments like restaurants and where people went to socialize had signs like the ones in South Africa that said no blacks or non-whites allowed. But some of these signs were very subtle. And some of the signs would read something like a right of admission reserved. So for people like us, they just meant that you weren't allowed to go, and that the person inside decided on who didn't go in. And I learned then that the words are very powerful. At the end of every year, my elementary school would put on a play, and these rehearsals began in September. And as the day drew closer, those chosen to participate would attend these daily rehearsals. The play we put on would be attended by the mayor and other important guests, usually from the white neighborhoods. The mayor was a white man, and they came to our segregated neighborhood once a year to attend this big event. So my school would make sure that the production that they put on was a top-notch production. And that, we put on plays like Rogers and Hammerstein or others like that. And I was always chosen to participate, mainly to sing, because I sang so well. I was one of the kids that never had to audition. So one year, the director of the play went away at the beginning of the summer, which is when we usually began auditions for the end of the year. To my surprise, I was chosen to be a princess with a very important solo part. Up until then, I hadn't noticed that my assigned roles had always been one that required me to cover up, so that only my voice was heard. As an inanimate object on the stage, or a farm animal or shrubbery, I could sing and support whatever was going on without diminishing the quality of the show. So being chosen to play a princess was very exciting and new, and it didn't matter to me. I was just singing, so I was happy. So the director returns a few short weeks before the night of the play, and when she realizes that I have a leading role, she immediately replaces me with a long-haired girl with lighting complexion. And she told me I would sing the song, but I would have to sing from behind the curtain, and while the lighter-skinned girl mimed on the stage. The teacher who had chosen me for the part was enraged. I remember her grabbing me by the shoulders and shaking me. And although I remember her anger scaring me at the time, I did realize at that young age that she was actually fighting for me. And to this day, I've never forgotten her words. She said, "Isabel, never let anyone put you behind the curtain again." I did not realize that up until the final show, she had continued to express the satisfaction that the director had humiliated me by placing me behind the curtain. I didn't get to play the part, and I did get to sing behind the curtain, but the important lesson I learned stayed with me. And although the circumstances may be different, there's so many people today that have similar experiences that have changed their lives. Other people are behind the curtain of literacy. They can't navigate certain spaces because they don't have the ability to access what all of us, a lot of us, take for granted. They find themselves insecure, feeling rejected, and in oppressive conditioning. And hearing that inner voice that I heard so often when I was young, "You're just not good enough." I share the lesson I learned from Phyllis Agnew, the woman who told me to never let anyone put me behind the curtain, because I think it's a very important lesson to share. And as I graduated from high school and tentatively ventured outside of the safety net of my parents that had created for me, I realized that the only way I could ever be free was to march right into a world that up to that point had been loud and clear about who were welcome and who were not. And I had always known I was not welcome. I had seen at a very young age the importance of words, which taught me about the world around me, the different people in the world. So I too traveled far and wide in my books. The public library became my very favorite place. At the age of 19, the second event I want to share with you, I decided to challenge the status quo of my country. I applied to the National Police Force. Up until then, the British South African police did not hire people of mixed race.
Oh, this is their guest.
We usually had two rank structures. White applicants were hired as patrol officers, and they could become the commissioner of police. And if you were black, you were hired as a constable, and you could become sub-inspector. So a sub-inspector of 25 years would be subservient, could have a patrol officer of 1 day on the job as their boss. The rank structure was layered by race. I knew when they received my application at headquarters, they would assume I was white because of my surname. So shortly after I submitted, I received a letter inviting me to attend the recruitment office. And I knew that recruitment office was only for white people. So when I walked in, I caused quite a stir. Eventually, when I got to the recruitment officer's office, he asked me, right up when they opened the door, and he saw that the mistake had been made. He says, "Why would you apply? We do not hire coloreds." I took this as an invitation to challenge the BSAP policies. Remember, I read a lot. I read anything. So I know I was reading then about women's rights, about how women were fighting for equality in the Western world. I pointed out that there's nothing that a white female could do that I couldn't. And furthermore, white females that were on the job were writing parking tickets. And I challenged that why they wouldn't be operational as the men were. In my view, they had the full potential to be operational just as the men. At the end of my interview, I was satisfied and quite prepared that this was the end of my dealings with the British South Africa police. Since I had gotten what I came for, shock value, I had succeeded, and boy, did I have a story to tell my friends. I didn't anticipate that they'd call me back. And my assumption was they were drawing a line in the sand. I was sure they would disqualify me before I disqualified myself. So you can imagine my shock after my final board interview, when the senior officer stands up and says, "Welcome to the BSAP." Incidentally, you're the first non-white to join the white ranks of the BSAP. I share that lesson as well because a lot of people disqualify. People will eliminate themselves before they are eliminated. I've sat on many job interviews, and I've seen how a woman and a lot of racialized people too will look at the requirements for a job and they'll see, oh yeah, they want they're looking for these 12 things. I only have 7, and then they self-eliminate. Whereas some of the guys, we know the guys have had more access than anybody else, men have, because of the way that traditionally we are a traditionally male-dominated society. Where a guy will look and say, gee, they're looking for 12, I have 7, I'm in, I have more than half. So people will self-eliminate, and I tell that story because it's so important not to do that. I could share with you my story about the BSAP and everything I went through, because up until that time, we had never, white people, black people, colored people, Indian, Portuguese, we'd never ever lived or especially in the same environment. And I had to, for the first time in the history of Rhodesia, 32 girls, black, white, and rich and mixed race, living in one building, and how that situation where somebody's telling you that you shouldn't even be here, shouldn't be subjected to living with you, or let alone sharing space with you. At the end of that 6 months, some of these people became some of my best friends. And that's because my parents taught us, always said to us, don't hate, educate. That was my mother's favorite line, and it would annoy me so much when I was young. But as an adult, I realized what she was meaning. And I love the Mahatma Gandhi saying, be the change you wish to see in the world. Doesn't mean that you allow people to walk all over you. And I, for one, would not have survived a career in law enforcement, right? Had I allowed people to bully me. What this has done for me is it's reading and learning. In 2006, I was sitting in my office and I received a call from a senior military officer, and he says, we're putting a 7-person team to go to South Africa to get them ready for international peace ops. And we think you're the 7th person. And I was supposed to start laughing with, what do I know? And I actually went, and I actually became to, because reading and learning helped me to navigate instructors and people. We had a group of people, a group of 30 South Africans, black, white, Indian, colored, that were together, that were going to together create this to help them get ready for participating in international peace operations. And they couldn't get along because of all the barriers between the races. But I was able to translate that to the people, the Canadian team, and I realized just how much the learning, what it had done for me. All that learning opened doors for me. I've been deployed to a number of missions. The longest one I was deployed to was in 2015 in Cambodia for as a war crimes investigator for the Khmer Rouge trials. And I still remember driving in the place where I didn't even think human beings existed in the forest, looking for a witness, and coming up to this village and stopped the truck, and one of the people went to ask the directions, and I heard this chanting, and I said to one of the driver, I said, what's this chanting? And he says, oh, it's a little school over there. It's not a school. This man is a retired principal. He brings in kids that can't go to school, and he teaches them. I was under his, they built the house on stilts. And so I said, can we go in? And we went in. And I noticed that the teacher was right up against the board writing, but the kids had a piece of cardboard each. And that's where they were writing their lessons and erasing. And so I said to the guys, I said, so we spoke with the teacher, and he could not afford a prescription glasses. And the kids could not afford books because they just were so poor. So what we did as a group, I said, listen, you know what? We have an opportunity to change the life of somebody. We don't know in a group of 100 kids, there might be a kid that's going to be the next prime minister that's going to change the world. So we went, I called some of my Canadian friends, we collected pencils and books and all that. And we went downtown, we bought a bunch of books, took them back, arranged for the teacher to go and to get his eyes checked. We got a new pair of glasses. And while my mission was there, we continued to go and support the school. But what happened was the Cambodian team that was with me as well, they realized that they don't have much, but their little can help others. So they continued even after we were gone to help the school. I'm telling you all these snippets, sharing with you to remind you that the time that you have given, that you give, and from what we heard from these stories that people have shared about how their lives have been changed, is that it's teaching somebody to navigate and become fluent, whether it's computers or whether it's reading. It opens up it opens up doors for them, and every action that you take is like tossing a pebble into a pond. You might see the first few ripples and not see ripples up there, but they don't stop; they continue. And what you're doing, it echoes into the future, and it multiplies as it echoes. At 8 years old, Phyllis Agnew stood up for me, and when I didn't realize that I didn't have access, she opened my eyes and opened my door, a door to me that I didn't know was there. My sister, in her love for books, opened a whole other world for me. And when people know that something's not quite right in the world, and you open this door for them, and you guide them to fluency and literacy, you're setting them on a path to freedom. The gift of freedom my sister gave me was the key that opened so many doors, the gift of learning. And I don't need to tell you, because you know more than I do, how literacy allows people to unlock a world of possibilities. It improves economic, psychological, social, physical well-being, amongst other things. So I thank you. I thank you for the work you do, and I congratulate you to those of you who, by taking important steps to learn, have actually been brave enough to step in. But for your guides and the people that have come alongside you and helped you on your learning journey, I thank you too. And thank you for gracing your beautiful, my world with your beautiful presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isabel. And talking about opening doors, I mean, that's what PwC has done so well, opened so many doors. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out. We're going to end it off by bringing Dee Sullivan up. Please remember to buy your raffle tickets. There's a lot of good books. And it's nice to see people.
So I just want to thank you all for coming. It's been a fabulous morning. Thank you so much, Hélène, for the land acknowledgement. I think Christine, oh no, Torres here, she's here somewhere. Christine, thank you very much. And to our wonderful speakers who joined us. This is fabulous. It's been a very memorable morning, and it is, as everyone has said, great to be in person again. I just want to draw your attention to the wall here. The Ottawa sign, People, Words, and Change will be our colors, green and white, will illuminate the Ottawa sign, which is down in the Byward Market, at York Street, where just at the intersection of Sussex Drive. Our green and white colors will illuminate the sign for today, for International Literacy Day, and the next 2 days following. So any of you who can get down there, bring your phones, take a selfie, send the pic to us. Unfortunately, the way the lights work is that they don't actually illuminate. I've been assured that they are actually on, but they don't illuminate during the day. It has to be dusk or dark. So to get the best shot, you need to go after dinner and get a, as I say, send it to PWC if you can manage to get down there tonight or the next 2 nights. And we will be there this evening at around 7 for a photo op that with some of our PWC board members and some Ottawa City councillors. So anyway, thank you very much. Thank you to Jessica for the Newport restaurant for all your wonderful food. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.